One of my best memories as a child is going to the hardware store, seeing those big packets of seeds, and dreaming of all the wonderful flowers and vegetables I wanted to grow. Did you know there is a way to store seeds so they can be used for years to come? Agent Calvin Gardner is here to tell us more. And Calvin, we're going to be talking about storing seeds, but let's go back to the beginning. Where do we get the seeds to store?
Yeah, so maybe you're starting out the season and you end up going to the store, like you said, and you're just seeing all those wonderful packs of seeds and you buy them all. But then by the end of the season, you are done with putting those seeds in the ground, but you still have a pack full of them. And maybe you have some of your plants that have gone to seed and you want to save them, or some wildflowers. So you may be left on hand with all these seeds. And so the following question is typically, what do we do with these seeds to extend their life, to extend their shelf life, so they can be used for the next season?
And I didn't even know that that was possible. I figured after a year, they're probably no good anymore. How long do they last?
So seeds can vary on how long they last. And so I wish I could give a specific time period of how long, and some can last for a year, some can last up to 5 years or more. And really one of the major factors is how they're going to be stored.
Which is a beautiful segue into how do we begin storing our seeds?
Yeah, so when you buy them in a seed pack, they typically come in maybe a paper pack just like this, and that really is getting at the base of what it is. A lot of it is going to be stored in a paper product because of moisture, and so you'll find that the paper keeps it sealed away from sunlight. Any kind of sunlight getting in there will get blocked, as opposed to something like a plastic bag. And so the way we'll save them in the season, so sometimes I'll get my stuff in a plastic bag in bulk, but I'll find myself a good paper bag, and I will open it up and just maybe toss some of the seeds in. Now, if you're being selective, always remember to put the seeds in the bag and then label it so you know what seeds went in there for the next season.
Sure.
If you're not worried about the selection, say you've gathered some wildflowers from your garden, then say, I get some wildflower seeds and I just kind of toss them in there. And so I made a wildflower seed mix. I'll put that on the front, and I'm not too worried about it.
Okay, so a paper bag.
So a paper bag.
And what's another method that we can use?
So once you have a paper bag, sometimes people will just put these in a cool, dry place away from sunlight. I'll store them inside my desk at work. But if you want to really extend the life, a lot of the times what people will do is they will actually get a mason jar or some kind of container, specifically something that has more of a seal on it.
Okay.
And they'll just kind of stuff that paper bag into there. Now you can take another step of precaution and put a silica packet in there to keep it dry.
Where can you get silica packets?
I typically just order mine online. I can get them in bulk. And then I will just put this lid back on, I'll spin it, and then I'll toss it in the fridge.
In the fridge?
In the fridge, so it will keep it cool in a cool place. And that's a really great method for storing seeds. As long as it doesn't get down to those freezing temps in your fridge, you're doing great.
So what I hear you saying is whatever you do, you want them cool, dry, and no sunlight.
Yes.
Because that would cause the germination?
Yes, it could cause a lot of different issues. I think one of the major things and the challenges you want to avoid when storing seeds is going to be the sunlight, which will cause the degradation to the seed. But then also, like that moisture, anything you can do to make sure that the seeds are in a dry place, because one, they might, it's not particularly as much germination as it is maybe any mold issues or something growing on them. And when you have something stored in the fridge, it's even a great precaution to pull it out of the fridge and set it on your table or something and let it come up to room temperature. And then spin the top off so that none of the condensation builds in the inside of the glass from the cool temperature. And then you really do maintain a really dry space inside of there. So
how long will seeds potentially remain viable? I know you said earlier it depends on the seed and it really can vary, but it could be up to a few years?
Yes, it could be up to a few years. Typically, most of your garden seeds that you're going to be growing and your wildflower seeds, they are often being dropped on the ground and then growing within the next growing season. So you do have a year's worth of viability on a lot of these because they're going to move cyclically throughout the year. They're going to want to grow throughout certain seasons through the year. So they'll have that viability, especially if you want to grow it for the next season. It should be in a good place to be grown.
What a fun way for your garden to just keep paying it forward.
Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful way, and it's a fun way to save all the seeds, and especially if you have some varieties you really like.
All right, Kelvin, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, well, hopefully you learned a way to store seeds so that you can enjoy some of your same harvests that you've had this year, years to come.